Good morning, everybody, and thanks for joining us here on KXAN Live. Will Dupree coming to you from the KXAN Live studio. Thank you all so much for joining us. And we're going to talk about something that I know a lot of you are paying attention to right now. We are seeing a very powerful hurricane forming at the moment, reached Category 5 last night, which surprised even me, especially because we're just at the beginning of July, end of June, and we're seeing this storm get so powerful so quickly. So joining us right now is meteorologist Rich Segal. Rich, thank you for being here and for providing this update. But I must ask you, you said you came in this morning and saw that Hurricane Beryl had become a Category 5. What was your reaction? Because that is such a powerful strength for so early in the season.
Utter disbelief. First of all, I was amazed that it reached Category 4 as quickly as it did. And I did not think that there was a possibility, when the winds were at 150 yesterday, that by late last night into very, very early this morning before 2 o'clock, that it could possibly get up to 157. 157 is where Category 5 winds begin, but it was at 160 and then it increased to 165. And I'm thinking to myself, this is one for the record books. This is one that's going to be discussed for a long time by hurricane experts and climatologists.
Well, we are looking at that live picture right now into downtown Austin, but I think a lot of people are wondering, because this storm is so powerful at the moment, what trajectory it will go on, and I know you have an update about that, so let's get started there.
All right. If we'll flip to the next graphic that I have up, there is the system right now. It is moving through the Caribbean. It passed the southern Windward Islands yesterday. It made a first landfall on an island called Carriacou, which is around the St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and it has moved back over the open waters. And as a Category 5, again, that's with winds at 157 or higher. So right now it's at 165, and it could intensify even more. But there's your designation of 5. There'll be an update coming shortly, but now let's track it through the Caribbean. It will weaken down to a 4, and then ultimately, as it moves towards Jamaica, it may make a second landfall there. If it deviates a little further to the right, it could make a landfall on Jamaica. Jamaica, by the way, is the only country that has a hurricane warning right now. That is apt to change. Okay, so it passes Jamaica. The storm surge could be as high as 6 to 9 feet. Then it will move back through the Caribbean again. And as it does, it will get closer to the southern Yucatan. There we go. And by the time it gets to the Yucatan, it passes as a Category 1. That's when winds are below 90 miles per hour. Now, there are the spaghetti models. And you look to Texas, and you see several of the models taking it to the lower half of the Texas coast. Yesterday, the majority of the spaghetti models, these are model runs from different agencies that forecast tropics, and most of them yesterday had it headed to Mexico. But today, most of them have them headed to Texas. Now, in this solution, 2 things. Number 1, it will be a tropical storm over the weekend. The water temperatures off of Tampico in eastern Mexico up towards Corpus Christi, the Gulf, are in the mid to upper 80s, rather warm. They won't be 100 like they did in Key West last year, but as you see, several of those model solutions take it to the Texas coast, and a couple of those then have it expanding past San Antonio on into the Texas Hill Country. Keep in mind that the heaviest rains from a hurricane fall on the north and east side. So if we had one of these that traveled to San Antonio and further towards the northwest, then we would likely find that, and there you see a closer look at it so you can see what I'm talking about. You would find that a couple of these, maybe 3 of them, suggest that it goes past San Antonio and into the western hill country. That would spell a lot of rain for us and some winds and potential damage and flooding. But it's too early. Again, I want to caution you. This is going to be the drinking game that some people like to do when you hear a phrase over and over and over again. The phrase is, it's still too early in its life cycle to adequately suggest where it may make landfall once it gets into the Gulf.
And when would we probably get maybe the most accurate prediction about where this thing might end up and how close it might be to?
Well, the National Hurricane Center is going to continue to update this. There's an update, I think, coming in the next hour or two, and this will tell us a little more about what they feel, where they feel that the storm will be going. Might it still be a tropical storm as it heads closer to the coast? The National Hurricane Center's suggestion was that it is going towards the Mexico coast, the northern Mexico coast. But you know what? Sometimes those spaghetti models turn out to be a little more accurate than the National Hurricane Center. So the 10 o'clock update from the NHC and also the spaghetti plots will tell us a little bit more. But we have to wait for it to get into the Gulf. It'll pass through the Yucatan, and then it'll get into the Bay of Campeche on into the southwestern Gulf. And like I said, water temperatures are conducive for further development beyond a tropical storm that maybe late in the weekend into early next week could develop or redevelop into a hurricane. I don't think it would get any stronger than a Category 1.
At the moment, though, we talked about a little bit earlier why this thing escalated so quickly and got to a Category 5. Would you just kind of reiterate what the ingredients are that's fueling this to make it get so big so fast?
Well, for one thing, there is no wind shear. There's nothing to shear the storm apart. It's a very calm wind in that part of the world at this hour or in today, and will be for the next several days. What was interesting, too, in addition to that, we had been talking about Saharan dust. The Saharan dust impedes tropical development, but the Saharan dust plume that we were seeing was traveling along the equator. South of the equator is where this storm got started, and it's continued south of the equator, so it's not even mixing in with that dust plume that is over the Atlantic right now. But the water temperatures, not only along the Gulf Coast, but in the Caribbean, are in the upper half of the 80s. So it's very warm water, and hurricanes need that warm water to feed on themselves, and that's exactly what's happening.
And we are only just at the beginning of hurricane season, right?
Yes, we are 1 month down. So Beryl was a 4 on Sunday. It only took 42 hours, Will, for this system to go from a tropical depression on Friday to a major hurricane on Sunday morning at 10:35.
We did see some video a little bit earlier today, and I just want to show you really quickly about when this made landfall in the Caribbean there. Again, water's churning, the sky's gray, and we're still waiting to see what this storm will do once it moves on a little bit past from where it is at this point. So wanted to share that really quickly. We are following the latest developments about this on KXAN.com and all of our newscasts, but we're fortunate to have meteorologist Rich Segal here because, Rich, in the coming days, you all at the First Warning Weather Team will be tracking where these models show this storm potentially could go and what it might do once it reaches the Gulf and maybe changes path to come closer to Texas or goes further into Mexico.
Exactly. The 10 o'clock update should tell us a little more. There'll be another update there'll be an intermediate update at 1, and then another major update at 4, and Nick will be talking about that this afternoon. But we'll cover this, and you and I should probably visit again tomorrow.
I will look forward to that. We'll put that on the books at this point. So meteorologist Rich Segal, thank you again for joining us and providing that update. We do appreciate that. I know a lot of people at home are watching us at the moment, so stay with us through all this coverage that we're going to be doing of where the storm goes and what our forecast shows. So Rich, thank you again.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, that's Rich Segal. I'm Will Dupree. We will see you back here at another time. Hope you all stay safe and healthy out there. Take care.